Amy Rodriguez and Nicole Barnhart, or Barney as we often call her. And for those of you tuning in on Facebook or on YouTube, or it's also on ussoccer.com, we welcome you. We hope you're all well. Hope you're doing great, staying home, staying safe. Speaking of all of that, how are you two? Where are you two?
Well, I'll start off by saying I was lucky enough to pack up and head home. We had just started preseason when all of the quarantine craziness kind of came about. So I got in my car and drove home to my husband and kids out in California. So I've been here for the last 5 or 6 weeks, but doing good, safe and healthy.
Yeah. So you're like a water balloon throw away from me, A-Rod, right?
I know. We're practically neighbors.
Oh. And Barney, where are you?
I am still in Salt Lake City. As A-Rod said, we had just started preseason before we kind of ended up in lockdown. So A-Rod and I are actually roommates here. So she headed back home, and I've just been hanging out here by myself, doing lots of cooking and working out in my apartment.
Aw, I bet you miss her and the kids.
I do. I'm definitely looking forward to all of them getting back here. The kids weren't here quite yet this season, but when they're all here, it's a lot of fun and keeps us entertained and busy, that's for sure.
Although I will say it's probably a safer bet to just be on your own during this time.
Yeah.
And not have all of the stuff that comes with the kids. Amy, how are you doing with all that?
Yeah.
We are safe and healthy, and I have to be, thankful and pleased with that. Like I mentioned earlier, we are pulling our hair out just a little bit, being quarantined, but staying safe and healthy is really the priority, and just trying to stay sane, and we're doing our best at that.
So Ryan is 6, right? And Luke is 3 now?
Yeah. 2 crazy little boys that just want to run around and keep their mom busy, and they do a good job of it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, see, I'm homeschooling with 11 and 13, and I'm like, I don't know how people do it with younger kids. I have taken I'm giving myself credit, a very hands-off approach to just like own this. I had to check in with my son, my 11-year-old, who I hope can't hear me, his teacher the other day, because I was like, hey, I've tried to give him ownership of this. Is he turning in anything? I have no idea. She's like, nothing. No, he is. He is turning it in, so I'm happy. All right, so we're gathering here today, of course, because right after we chat, they are going to toss to, we're going into the time machine. They're going back to November 27th, 2010. And this is a big one because it was the playoff, of course, against Italy, a 2-game series. You had already played in Italy the week prior, won 1-0 on an Alex Morgan goal in stoppage time. So, but talk about 2 pressure-filled games. This is to qualify for the 2011 Women's World Cup. So can you actually first give some context to the game and what it meant, and just going back to the CONCACAF qualifiers?
Well, first off, I can't believe that was 10 years ago already. That is crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, I'll start off. We had the CONCACAF qualifiers down in Mexico. I wouldn't say we were playing some of our best soccer at that time. So we got to the final game against Mexico and didn't put up our best performance, and played against them in a tough environment and a tough home stadium, and came out with a loss that bumped us out of automatically qualifying for the World Cup. And we ended up having to go into some very much unplanned for extra playing games to then make it through and qualify for the World Cup.
It's crazy when you think about it, because everyone assumes with the United States on the women's side, with their history with the World Cup, it's CONCACAF, you're going through. And I remember when that news came down, because we weren't calling that game, that the U.S. had lost to Mexico, and then you had to win the third place game,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had this playoff series. I was like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this was probably the biggest string of most nerve-wracking games I had ever played in.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was a young player, not a lot of experience. Our U.S. national team always won these games, always qualified for the big tournaments. And this was the first moment that we were shaking a little bit and having that sense of, oh no, like, did we overlook this? Or did we come into this too confident? And it started questioning our abilities. And so for me, it was for sure the biggest string of most nerve-wracking games probably in my career playing for the national team.
What do you remember of that first game in Italy?
You want to take it, Brian?
I mean, if I remember correctly, it was a tough game. I think it was tight. Obviously, we didn't score till very late, and I mean, I think if I remember correctly, one of our bench players, Lori Lindsay, got a card that actually gave us a little bit of that time added on at the end of the game, which is what we actually ended up scoring in. So I think it was a lot of back and forth, if I remember correctly, and as A-Rod said, for me personally, for sure, like the biggest game I had ever played in with the national team. I had just had the opportunity to step in as the starter with hope going out for the qualifying, and to go into that environment and then to not qualify and then to have to go play in these playing games and be playing in Italy away from home. Like, I remember how like huge that was, and how much pressure I felt on my shoulders to make sure we got through that and got a result to come back home and play in front of our home fans, on home soil for that last game, to hopefully go into it with a good result and kind of our heads high and knowing that we are in control of everything in the situation.
And when you think about when Alex Morgan was the one who scored that goal, 4th minute of stoppage time. And had she not scored that goal and you walk away with that 0-0 tie, not scoring an away goal, right? Italy, even if they tied, if they had scored a goal and tied 1-1, they go through. And you guys you know this, of course, but boy, that goal by Alex Morgan in stoppage time had to have been huge.
Scoring that goal and winning that game in Italy was massive for us. It took off a huge burden, because these are the two most important games that we were going to play. And at the end of the year in November, it was freezing cold. We all should have been on vacation and have already qualified for the tournament. Our backs were to the wall. And I think that was a really big moment for our team. Scoring in stoppage time, there's no better way or no better celebration but to have that relief at the end of the game. It felt really good then coming back for the second leg of the series back in the United States.
So you come back to the United States. You've gotten the win in Italy, but clearly not through yet. All other teams have qualified, by the way. This is for the last spot of the 2011 World Cup. So you're going into Bridgewater, Toyota Park in Bridgewater, Illinois, and it's a chilly 31 degrees. What do you remember from that game, Amy, and especially you getting the game winner?
Suiting up for the game. Again, we knew we had a leg up because we had won the first game, but it was still pretty frightening. We were on the verge of not making a World Cup, which would have been the first time in history that the U.S. has never qualified. It almost felt like we were saving ourselves from embarrassment. And we just needed to get ourselves back on the right foot because we knew we were good enough to be in that tournament. We knew we shouldn't have been sitting there competing for the last spot in the World Cup. We just wanted to prove that we deserved it. And I think that by knocking that game out of the park, getting the win again, I think we got our feet back on the ground and obviously took it from there.
Do you remember having some of that swagger back after that? Or was it a case of it, that whole experience was scarring in a sense? Or did you get the swagger back?
I think it was a reality check for our squad.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we almost felt like a shoo-in for every World Cup and major tournament, because we were the US. And I think that that's an important lesson to learn as an athlete. You know, you can never be too confident. Teams are always going to be chasing you down. As the US, we always have a big target on our back, and we just can't let things slip. So it was a good reality check for us. And I don't think we got swagger back, but I do think that we became a big time unit, chemistry-wise, and fought together to get ourselves back into the tournament.
Okay, so talk me through the goal, because I know you've been watching it every day for the last few months in anticipation of this game. You guys need to rewatch the game, people. A-Rod's like, nah, I didn't watch it.
From what I remember on the play, there was just a big scramble in front of the net, and I just knew that if I could just get a toe poke on it, or just, you know, get to the ground quickly and try to knock it in, you know, I'd give it everything I had just to knock it in the net. And that's kind of what happened. It was just like a big scramble, and luckily poked it in there, and the rest was kind of a celebration and one for the history books.
Barney, 2 clean sheets in those games as well. I mean, beyond A-Rod getting that goal, I mean, for you to step in for an injured Hope solo and then to walk away with those playoff games with 2 clean sheets was huge as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always kind of prided ourselves on being tough to beat defensively, and walking away from that game in Mexico. It was an eye-opener. I think we were a little bit embarrassed by it. So I do think we kind of took pride going into these games to know that if we did our job defensively, that our offense would step up and take care of business as well. So I think we definitely limited them to chances. If I remember correctly, I think there was a little bit of kind of craziness the first 15 or 20 minutes where it took us a little bit to kind of find our rhythm and get our feet under us and kind of take control of the game. And they did have some chances during that time. But I do think once we kind of settled down a little bit and kind of caught our breath and just relaxed and started playing our game and just trusting each other, I think that's when we kind of started moving in the right direction and eventually got that goal that we needed.
You really couldn't, though, take a big breath or take like this sigh of relief, because the game stayed tight. I mean, with all the looks that you all had, Abby had a breakaway that was saved. She had that diving header that the Italian keeper, I think her name was Priscilla, if I'm right, made on her as well. I mean, Cheney hit the crossbar. I mean, there were some good looks, but the game stayed tight the entire time.
Yeah, I think that the fact that we were creating so many chances helped us a lot. It helped us kind of shift that rhythm and momentum in our direction. I mean, that game could have very definitely gone very differently had their keeper not had the day she had, and she came up with some big saves for sure. And if we put away some of those chances early on, it is a very different game. But yeah, she kept them in it, and we just kind of kept fighting and pushing, and finally A-Rod was able to poke one through, and I do think that was like such a huge weight off our shoulders once that goal finally went in.
Yeah. Do either of you remember what was said amongst the group after you qualified?
I remember it being a quite serious tone. I think, yes, we were excited to have qualified, but it was what we were expected to do in the first place. So like I said, it was kind of like a sigh of relief. And now okay, check that off the list. Now we're on to business. Let's not let this ever happen again.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing is let's learn from this. Let's grow from this. Let's grow together more as a team and a group, and let's not ever have to go through this again, because it's not the way you want to do it. It's stressful. It's not fun. It's terrifying at times, and it's not us. It's not who we are.
You guys, of course, go on to compete in Germany the next summer in 2011, and literally qualified as the last team to go into that World Cup. I remember this because we had the rights to that World Cup, and everyone kept saying, is it even possible that the United States does not qualify? And I was like, no, stop that nonsense talk. Let's go. But fast forward to that summer, I mean, and what a tournament in general. But if you were just looking back on that, and I know there's got to be a ton of emotions that flood through you, what's the overriding emotion, though, when you look back on that World Cup with that group?
It was just wild. I feel like it was such like a fluctuation of emotions. It was like highs and higher than highs and then lows, and you're just like, whoa, like, can we really keep doing this? And it was exciting and fun, but it was a wild ride.
Definitely one of the most favorite tournaments I've played in so far. Really exciting games. We
Mhm.
played against some excellent competition. I know the ending didn't finish how we wanted it to. That's always left a very sour taste in my mouth and hard pill to swallow.
Mhm.
But I will say, it was a integral part of my career where I learned a lot about myself as a player. And I walked away from the tournament feeling really proud. Our U.S. team fought tooth and nail, and credit to Japan for walking away with the win. But we gave it everything we had, and we fought through a ton of adversity, challenges, not qualifying, and I'm still really proud to be a part of that group that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you could argue, and I often do, that quarterfinal match against Brazil with your team down and then coming back, and Abby's headed goal to tie it all in I think it was the 122nd minute or something ridiculous like that, 120th minute, um, really changed the trajectory of women's soccer in this country. I think that all the time. I look at that game as, I mean, if you all had been knocked out in that quarterfinal, which would have been the earliest the U.S. had ever been knocked out of a World Cup, then there wouldn't have been the reaction, of course, that followed after that with the enthusiasm and the final. And even though you all didn't win that final, I mean, the storyline of Japan winning, given all that country had been going through,
Mhm.
also created a lot of attention and buzz, I thought, as well. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I think everyone would say that your team, the 99ers, were the ones that changed the trajectory of women's soccer in this country. I don't know if it was our quarterfinal match, but definitely added to the excitement. And I think people really rallied behind our U.S. women's team. And it was a really fun time to be on the field and represent the USA.
Yeah. We could spend this needs to be like a whole nother 30 minutes with you on just the 2011 World Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, before we go to the game, because I want to talk just a little NWSL in terms of just training. How are you managing during all of this, and what are you doing? And I need some advice and creativity.
It's tough. I mean, it's very tough. It's mentally draining. It's physically draining. I think the toughest thing for us is for our team. We had 2 days of preseason in before we kind of got shut down. So to work that hard all off season, to come in prepared and only get to train for 2 days, and it's been what, 5 or 6 weeks now, I think, since the last time we've trained, and we haven't really played soccer. We've obviously lost some of that fitness and just that touch on the ball that we had finally gotten back. And for me, we get team workouts to do in our apartment every day from our performance coach. So we do that. I've gotten very good at riding the bike and going nowhere. So I spend a lot of time on the stationary bike just to get my cardio up. And yeah, you make the most of it and do what you can. I'll do passing stuff in my living room off the couches just to get some touches on the ball, but it's not ideal. But obviously there's a bigger situation going on that's out of our control, and it is bigger than soccer at this point. And we just have to do our best to prepare for that time whenever that preseason does start up again, and just be as ready as we possibly can to go into that.
How stringent are your stay-at-home orders in Utah? Like in California, if I'm with my family, I could go to a park and there's goals still up, and there may be a sign saying you're not supposed to be there, but if there's social distancing, there's people playing on the park, right? And that seems to be okay. What is it like in Utah?
Yeah, they're not super strict with stuff. It's kind of like a stay-at-home mandate. Is not really an order. They just recommend people to stay at home, and obviously social distancing is encouraged, but they don't want people kind of congregating in groups, and just ideally staying 6 feet away from everybody as much as you can. So it's not like heavily enforced, but they're constantly pushing it and encouraging people to do it.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, what are you doing? You just
I think
like using the boys as dumbbells?
No, they don't help much. It's a tough time, right? All of us at home, whether you're an athlete or not, it's tough. And I feel like I've tried to just keep my positivity through all this and try to work with what I got. That's part of being a professional and dealing with anything that gets thrown at you, and adversity and things that might be difficult. But just training solo here out in California and getting my touches in with myself against the wall. I put my little earbuds in and I just go run and do what I can. Just trying to stay at the top of the game that I can in preparation for when season does start back up.
Do you have, speaking of positivity, any good news for NWSL fans in terms of start date or any gut feeling on that you're allowed to share? No.
I'm really hopeful. I think that there's a lot of news out there that says all sorts of conflicting things. I think we're expected to maybe start back up in some capacity in mid-May, with potential in late of June to try to get out there and have the fans cheer us on.
All right, fingers crossed that happens. Yeah. We could all use some good news. And because U.S. Soccer knew we needed some distractions, they're kind enough to be sending us way back. So, are you ready for this? All right?
Yes.
I've got my mic. And party people, I take you back all the way back to November 27, 2010, Toyota Park in Bridgeview, Illinois. United States plays Italy in a second leg of the playoff series. JP Dellacamera, Julie Foudy, who was amazing on the call. Marnie, Aaron, thanks, my dears.
Thank you.
Enjoy the game.
Thanks, you too.
The USA expected to be resting for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, but a third-place finish in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying makes it a working weekend as the Americans host Italy. For the U.S. today, will their leading goal scorer, Abby Wambach, lead the team to victory? The goal-scoring machine has 117 career international goals. Or will the team's youngest star shine again? 21-year-old Alex Morgan scored a critical road goal, a game winner last week versus the Italians. Ironically, an American goalkeeper playing for Italy could stop the USA. Anna Piccarelli of Italian heritage starts in goal. The final berth in World Cup qualifying is the big prize. Well, here at Toyota Park in Bridgeview, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, who would have thought that it would come down to this? The United States involved in a playoff just to get into the World Cup. They've been in the previous 5 World Cups, and right now it's between the USA and Italy battling for that 15th or 16th and final spot. Right now 15 teams are in. There is the list from the CONCACAF region. Canada finished number 1 and Mexico finished number 2. Equatorial Guinea and Colombia are among the newcomers. Don't forget the draft is coming up on Monday. You can catch it on ESPN3. Scenario-wise, here's what you're looking at. USA, it's simple. They go on with a win or a draw. Italy qualifies with a win. Plus, they need to score at least 2 goals. If it ends up 1-0 after 90 minutes with Italy on top, that's the only scenario for extra time and then possibly penalty kicks to determine who will advance. We welcome you to Toyota Park alongside the former captain of the U.S. national team, Julie Foudy. I'm JP Delacamera. Jules, what's the mindset now of these two teams after that first leg with the late Alex Morgan goal for the U.S.?
Well, the U.S. gets a little bit of comfort knowing they have a goal in hand, so they can come in a little bit more strategic. The U.S. mentality is always to win, of course, but they can be a lot more cautious in their play. They don't have to go forward with numbers. They don't have to attack like they typically will. The Italians, on the other hand, they're in a bit of a quandary because they got to get a goal. They got to get an away goal. And they typically like to stay very compact defensively and then spring out of that with a counterattack. So they're going to have to take some more risks going forward and try and get a win today if they want to get through to the World Cup.
This is the second leg of a two-leg total goal series as the teams get ready to come out onto the field here in Bridgeview, Illinois. We're expecting 8,000, hoping for that here in Chicago. A lot going on in the area. Obviously a big college football day, high school sports going on, and the pro teams in the Chicago area. But here today for the U.S. women's national team taking on Italy. USA has won 2 previous World Cups. They've been involved in all 5 and all 4 Olympics, so they've never missed on a major tournament at this level. The Italians have been involved in a couple of
Ladies and
World Cups,
gentlemen,
1991 and 1999. Right now it's time for the national anthems of the 2 countries.
Of America.
The 2 teams played last Saturday in Padova, Italy. Both teams flew here on Sunday, left on Sunday morning, arrived Sunday. They've been training in this area all week. Yesterday, temperatures were a bit colder than today, and also there was a much heavier wind. We're set now to bring you the starting lineups for these 2 teams. Julie, will start with the United States.
And the United States is playing in its 4-4-2, same matchup they had against Italy in the first game. It'll be interesting, though, to see what happens right here in the center of midfield with Shannon Box and Carly Lloyd. Those two typically like to fly all over the place, and Pia, the coach of the United States, gives them that luxury, but they need to be a little bit smarter because the Italians are going to try and counterattack right through that middle. They also want to see Abby Wambach playing high up top for the United States. For Italy, they're going in their 4-5-1. They have two changes to the lineup. Sarah Gamma came in at left back, which is a good sign according to Anna Piccarelli for the team, and Pamela Conti in the midfield there. And she's a player, Conti, who loves to get forward. They didn't play her in the first game against the United States because she isn't as defensive-minded, but she really is their engine and playmaker and their second leading scorer during the qualifiers for the Italians. She will link up lots with Patricia Panico up top for the Italians.
And let us welcome in the third member of our broadcast team who was also with the team in Italy. Downstairs we go to Pedro Gomez.
JP, obviously the weather's going to be a factor. I spoke to an Italian official. The Italian women have never played in temperatures this cold. It's about 32 degrees. The wind chill puts it at 23. More importantly, though, is the coin flip, which I believe is taking place right behind me. Anna Piccarelli is 5'4". You do not want to be in the east goal for the first half because that sun is going to be in your eyes. So it'll be interesting to see who won the coin because we know whoever did is going to take the west end zone. JP?
Thank you, Pedro. We're getting ready for the kickoff. USA in the white uniforms, the Italians in blue. They know the significance of this. For the USA, a win or a draw gets them to the World Cup. They were favored to get there. Remember, they're the #1 rated team in the world. Italy is number 11, so what an upset this would be if the Italians were to knock off the United States. Referee for today, Cha Sung-mi from South Korea. Even the officials were called yesterday as they came out to inspect the field. Pia Sundhage, a lot of pressure you would think on her. She's only lost twice in her career with the U.S. national team. A couple of big losses, one in the Olympics, first game there in 2008, and then they lost to Mexico, which put them in this spot. Over the ball, Carly Lloyd and Abby Wambach for the United States. USA never lost in the Chicago area. They've played 9 times, twice here, 2 wins at Toyota Park. On the long ball immediately, that's going to be cleared away by the Italians on the right side of the field. Up for Panico, and the offside flag went up immediately. Italian coach Pietro Ghedin, 6 years with this team as the head coach. Was a former assistant for 9 years on the men's side, even involved in Olympics and the World Cup. I mentioned the Atlanta Olympics in '96 when we spoke to him yesterday. Back free on the far side. Pini is on it. And it goes on a play. It'll be a throw-in for Italy on the right. They only had their starting 11 out there for the warm-up.
Yeah, they probably heard that.
Knocked ahead. Panico not able to get to it. She'll get a piece of that ball. It's coming back, and Barnhart is there. He's their most experienced player, age 35. Barnhart will clear it long. And it's right up by Gamma. Offside flag up again on the Italians. You're going to need to score in this game in order to have a shot at beating the United States, but they don't have to gamble at the top. You know they're going to put pressure on the United States, but it doesn't have to be early. Into the box it comes. Piccarelli is there. The one thing they can't afford to do is give up an early goal to the U.S.
No, and that is kind of the cat and mouse game they're going to have to work with. Is their strength is staying compact, and staying compact means you're not taking a lot of chances. You're not sending a lot of numbers forward, but they're going to have to eventually take some risks. But you're right, JP, they don't have to do it immediately.
U.S. back of the ball. Carly Lloyd too far in, and it's right to Piccarelli. She's a big story in goal. Her father was born in Italy. She's a former Pepperdine goalkeeper for 4 years. Called up by the USA under 21s and told not tall enough. Not that you're not good enough, not tall enough. was what they told him. Coming back after it. Panico. Nice ball across. Petey was there making the run. It's broken up by Bueller. All it's going to take is one mistake, and if the Italians pounce on it, then it's game on. Going the other way, the offside flag is up on Rapinoe.
Wow, what a recovery by Rachel Bueller there to save the United States early, because that was a great ball across. The Italians having a very good early look, and as you said, JP, the game suddenly takes a turn if they get an early goal.
Bueller has played as a left back and also as a central defender on this team. She's the left back today. Pushed up by Tona, headed forward by Panico. Into the box it comes, and now back outside. Brought back down. Ponte, who was a sub last week. That's blocked. U.S. losing it there. Camporese lost it. She's down. No foul was called as Rampone played it back to Barnhart.
You know, and that's a good early look too as well, JP, at the danger of the Italians. I mean, the thing that's so unpredictable about them is they can spring forward so quickly.
It's Camporese who went down on this play.
And here's a look how she got hurt. Looks like Abby coming in, taking a swipe a little bit late.
The Italians fifth minute here, scoreless. We saw her last week. Camporese played the full 90.
And here's a look at the ball crossed by Panico. Bueller having to come all the way back, and just getting that little touch on it was the difference.
Well, Italy concerned about injuries. They're missing one of their best players, maybe the best, Melania Gabbiadini, 71 caps, 22 goals. She is their playmaker, but has an injured ankle and is not even on the subs bench today. Gadin would love to have been able to call upon her today in the second leg, but that ankle injury wasn't responding. Nobody was warming up for the Italians, and we'll see how Camporese goes. But if she is going to be struggling, somebody will be warming up soon.
And Gabbiadini, they said, you know, hurt her ankle just right before in club play, right before the first U.S. match. So talking to Anna Piccarelli yesterday, she said it's such a huge loss for the Italians because she's such a game changer for us.
Heather Mitz on the throw in, headed forward by the U.S. On the run was O'Reilly, but it's blasted away. It's cleared up by Elisabetta Tona. Another throw in for the United States. Both teams trained in this field yesterday. Almost picked off, now it is. That was Camporese who just came back onto the field. And it'll go out of play. Throw in for Italy. Picking up the tempo a bit. Pini on the far side. Flag is up.
Already you're seeing a more aggressive offensive presence though by the Italians, especially in their outside midfielders, and Camporese and Pini on the right.
Knocked forward by Rapinoe. Wambach trying to bring it down. Neboli defends. Played inside. Rodriguez and missed the net. A great chance to put the United States up by a goal and by 2 in the aggregate.
A good ball in by Abby to find her. A great run off the ball by Amy Rodriguez, and she just hits it with the wrong surface, bending the wrong way. And I think Anna Piccarelli did a nice job of cutting down her angle by coming out. But really need to get that one on frame. Amy Rodriguez typically would get that on frame. Give yourself a chance.
Actually, Lepelbit towards Wambach. Still tightly marked by Neboli. Trying to get around her on the left. The cross inside is blocked. Wambach told me yesterday one of the things she must do better, hold the ball more up top. It was hard for the U.S. to find her last week because of Neboli's marking and the fact that the USA wasn't getting a lot of crosses in. They weren't stretching the Italians out defensively.
Yeah, that was an atypical game for Abby. She had a tough time keeping possession and holding the ball. The Italians, they put in Laura Neboli, number 6, with that idea in mind.
Camporese taken away and cleared by Rampone, but the Italians have done pretty well in trying to isolate up top with some players. Had some one-on-one situations there where a better touch or a better ball might get them through. Camporese into the box, squared it, there it is for Panico. She needed a much better shot there. She put it right at Barnhart, but she was open.
And that's an issue the United States is going to have to look at, because Panico is getting a lot of touches early on, both in service and there, a great look right in front of the goal.
She is Italy's most dangerous player. Best goal scorer they have out there. Moved forward by Diada, cut off by the United States. Rapinoe played it back to Lepelbit. Going forward towards Wambach, picked off by Diada. Played forward, Conte.
My
foul was called.
fell right as JP was coming to me, so
Chasami calling that one.
all I can hear was
And you can see the Italians, they're pressing their two outside midfielders really high, and they're playing like a three front, which puts tremendous pressure on the back line for the United States.
On that far side, Domenichetti. Nice moves to try to free herself. Played it back. Monte's pass is denied. Rapinoe. Wambach headed it back to Rapinoe. On the left side. Forward to Rodriguez, trying to turn. Stepping in and winning it, the Italians. First it was Tona. Rampone nods it down, almost given right back to the Italians. Wambach after it. Doubled up, even tripled up on that far side as it went out of play. U.S. lost it.
Here's a look at the U.S. not picking up Panico on the backside. You see Lepelbit get sucked into the near post, and she's wide open on that back post.
Pushed forward. Camporese was almost knotted down to her, and there's Barnhart. For Italy, Pietro Guidin, their head coach, has to like the way his team has started today compared to a week ago, and there was more of their defense. Today, it's more of their offense.
Yeah, and he's gone with a more offensive lineup, and Pamela Conti, number 10 for the Italians. He didn't even put her in until the last minute against the United States last week because he was afraid of her defensive presence, as we talked about earlier.
Not afraid today. Gamma goes forward for the first time. That cross was denied. It'll go out for the Italians' first corner.
And that's the other player that he brought in that he was hoping to have last week, Sarah Gamma, the left back. But you can see the Italians, when they are attacking, they're dynamic. They bring their left back forward. Their outside midfielders fly.
Camporese will take this first Italy corner. Towards the back post, Barnhart makes the easy grab. 5'10" goalkeeper, now the #1 goalkeeper on the U.S. with Hope Solo out with right shoulder surgery. Barnhart sends that one long.
She is good.
The wind was so brisk yesterday, kicks like that weren't happening in training. Much calmer today. You could hear Piccarelli say lascia, lascia, which really means, loose translation, it's keeper, but it means leave it. She spoke fluent Italian yesterday with her teammates and the administration of Italy. Before she played on the Italian team, didn't speak a word of Italian. Domenichetti lost it. Knocked away on the far side by Tutino. U.S. are back on it. Rapinoe slips by Tutino. Megan Rapinoe's cross was blocked by Diada. She tried to find Panico. Instead, it's Heather Mintz to Lepelbit. 12 minutes scoreless. USA had a great chance from Amy Rodriguez earlier. The Italians have had some good looks as well. Rodriguez tried to leave it there, taken away.
Yet to really see. We just saw a little bit of Megan Rapinoe on the left side of midfield for the United States, but I haven't seen Heather O'Reilly get a touch yet. So getting that outside midfielder and the flanks involved for the United States is going to be critical today.
On the turn, Panico try to find Camporese. It'll be a goal kick for Barnhart. Piccarelli on the other side. 5'4" she is listed as. Her parents are here today amongst the crowd.
And look at that shadow that's coming across there. That's difficult for a goalkeeper when she's popping in and out of that sun and shadow. And something the United States, I'm sure, is aware of. Those are when you say, launch it from the outside, take those shots. You never know what's going to happen.
Hey, two in front! Hey, someone step in front! Hey, two in front!
That's Nicole Barnhart telling the team she wants two in front to slow him down. She's only got one in Heather Mitz.
She's staring into a tough sunlight too. It is Conte who will take it. It's blocked. Camporese, that's blocked as well. Rodriguez thought she had help coming up. Italy's ball in the throw-in, near side, 21-year-old Gamin. Got it in for Camporese. U.S. gets it back with Mitz. Under pressure from Camporese. Finds Carly Lloyd deep in her own territory. Opposite side for Bueller. Lapelbit, box. Pretty good pressure here from Italy. O'Reilly has to come back for it. U.S. hemmed in their own end. Rampone with that long release. Rapinoe's pass cut off. Diada, Tona. Back for Diada. Slipping past Rapinoe. Got it inside to Menichetti. Panico. Italy trying to break with some numbers. Camporese, 11 on the ball. Running at Mitz. Help is coming. It's Rampone blocking it. Camporese stays with it. And she's going to get her second corner for Italy.
Hey, one short! Hey, one short!
Italy wanted to play it in quickly and short. Conte, nice fake there to slip past O'Reilly. The cross is there, and it just missed. That was dangerous for Italy.
Good awareness by Italy, too. They saw the United States wasn't coming to the short ball, and so they played it quick.
Gamma with that pass ahead. Camporese over the top. Offside flag goes up on Carolina Pini.
And a good first 15 minutes for this Italian team, and that's something they're going to generate a lot of confidence from. If they can keep the United States off the scoreboard, it's moves like this that give them a lot of confidence. Now the issue for them is how many looks like that are you going to get? With the Panico in front of the goal, now this one across the face of the goal, you can't let too many of these opportunities slip away, especially against a good team like the United States.
The U.S. needs a winner and draw to put them through to the next World Cup. Italy must win and score at least 2 goals. The U.S. leads 1-0 in the aggregate thanks to that first leg goal from Alex Morgan, who's on the subs bench today. Gamma blocked by Mitz, stepping out, naked Rampone on the far side. It goes inside to Lapelbit. Held up, and here's Italy pushing it forward. Panico is there. She's in the box. And another weak shot from Panico, the captain. The U.S. is up and throwing. Rapinoe, long for Rodriguez, slipping by. That's Neville on her. Rodriguez, the cross, headed away by Gamma. It still stays in play and now goes out. The USA will have it with a throw in deep.
Well, it's interesting because Italy sent their right back all the way to about their own 6-yard line. She was on the back post of that cross if they had found her. Panico chose to shoot, but they're right back. But what happens when you do that is you give up on the other side. The U.S. came back to counter, and Roberta Diada is just now getting back into her right back position.
O'Reilly playing it back. Lapelbit pushed forward, left side. Cross is coming. There's Rapinoe. Be a corner for the United States. Head coach Pia Sundhage said yesterday they've got to be better, the U.S., on their set pieces, take advantage of Wambach's size and strength in the air.
And their service. I mean, especially when you have a goalkeeper that's 5'4", and look at, you got no one on the back post over here for Italy. Wide open back post and a 5'4" goalkeeper. Launch it in there, driven.
Megan Rapinoe will take it on the far side. That's where she was aiming for, it looked like, at least from this angle, but it was over the top.
And here's the Italy attack. We're going to get a look at earlier from the turnover. Bad ball out of the center back position, and Italians are known for this. They're going to start sending numbers. You see the right back on the back side, Diata, even in the middle of it all. And that's where they're so good. They get that turnover, and they start and they fly and they go. They send numbers. I mean, the danger of that, of course, JP, is you're exposed on the other side. There's only so many times where the United States is not going to take advantage of that if you're not finishing it off.
Italy in blue as they attack, and the ball is given right back to the USA captain.
It does highlight one of the issues the United States has been having, though, their distribution out of the back. We've seen Rampone give a few away, Lepelbit give a few away. So cleaning up that distribution, and that starts from that back line.
Albert to Rampone, the two central defenders working it forward towards Wambach, having kept it alive and in play for O'Reilly cutting. Heather O'Reilly avoided one challenge. She'll load it up. It was blocked wide. Picarelli tried to save that from becoming a corner kick, but it'll be the second USA corner instead.
And that's good that the U.S. is getting Heather O'Reilly a little bit more involved. She hasn't had many touches. Nice sequence by her to take on there and make something happen.
Scoreless here in the 20th minute. USA leads 1-0 in the aggregate. Rapinoe to the middle. That was Wambach getting up there. She may have pushed off inside. Let's go downstairs to Pedro Gomez.
JP, Julie, Pia Sundhage, the coach, just came out and was yelling at Rachel Bueller to tell the other defenders, listen, stop passing the ball low, go over the top. They obviously want to try to take advantage of their height advantage over the Italians. JP?
Pia Sundhage looking for a lot of things here today. Winner or draw gets the United States through. We've not seen the USA at their best, though, not in that first leg, and not here today, certainly in the first half.
Yeah, and she may be seeing that they're giving up a lot of possession in that back line when they're trying to play defeat. So she's saying send it over the top, you know, which actually goes against a lot of what Coach Sundhage talks about, and trying to keep the ball and keep possession.
The U.S. will qualify for the next World Cup with this scoreline. Long way to go here from Toyota Park in Bridgeview, Illinois. This box went down, fouled by Panico. Two veterans of their respective countries.
I mean, the other challenge for the United States is in the central midfield area, because you have three Italians sitting in there in the central area when they play a 4-5-1. And so the U.S.'s central midfield of Carly Lloyd, who's on the ball right now, and Shannon Box are outnumbered.
Pushed forward by Totino. And the ball almost slipped through by Conti. Instead, it's the U.S. Rapinoe on the move. Leads it left. Wambach. Rodriguez and O'Reilly join on the attack. It's an easy play, though, for Picarelli. And the 26-year-old goalkeeper will hold on to it. 22nd minute. Scoreless here. U.S. has that 1-0 lead in the aggregate. Big collision there, just over the halfway line. Goes against Italy. Box is slow to get up. Don't forget the 2011 FIFA Women's World Cup draw. It's Monday on ESPN3.com. It's at 1:40 Eastern Time. Jeremy Schaap, Julie Friday will be there reporting in Frankfurt, Germany. One of the venues, the 2011 FIFA World Cup. Played in long. Picarelli came out, got it, and lost it, but the flag is up. And now the referee will acknowledge that from the assistant referee.
the Italians playing a very high line where they set for the free kick, and so it gives a lot of space for Anna Piccarelli to gobble. But when you have an Abby Wambach coming at you, I'm not sure that's the best decision if you want her to cover that much ground, a 5'4" versus about a 6-footer.
Italy will have a free kick, not from as close as they thought they would. Edge of the box instead. Elisabetta Tona had 4 goals in World Cup qualifying, played at 4, now it goes to Diata off the deflection. It's blocked. Another whistle, another foul, this one against the United States. The U.S. only had to play in a 5-game, 8-team tournament. That was the extent of their World Cup qualifying. And now this playoff, 2 legs as the flag is up again on Italy for the 4th time. The Italians were complaining to us and everybody else who had listened about all the games they've been playing. This is their 16th game in terms of qualifying to get to the World Cup. That's a lot compared to the U.S. and what CONCACAF does.
It is a lot. I mean, because they have their first group games, which I think are about 8. And then if you don't qualify in the playoffs of that, you go into a loser's bracket playoffs. It is a lot.
Well in the initial stage, but ended up finishing 5th in Europe, plus the playoff. With the 3rd place CONCACAF team as Box is brought down. The foul is on Conti. '25th minute, scoreless, USA and Italy. A 1-0 aggregate lead for the United States. On the ball, played long by Rampone. Piccarelli punched it straight out, knocked back by Rapinoe, but it's wide.
And this has been an area that Pia, Coach Sunhagen, said she wanted to be better on. She wanted this service right there in front of goal. She said last game they were lofting it too high. She said, I want on long free kicks, I want service on goal so that Piccarelli has to come out and make a decision on that. And that's exactly what you're finding, is this kind of no man's land right there, which is a dangerous spot for a goalkeeper if she's way out there.
Headed up by Camporese towards Panico. Conti. Cut off there by Mitz. Mitz staying with it. Got it over the halfway line. Brought down by Conte on the turn. Tutino's pass is blocked. Rampone. O'Reilly. Kept it on the ground. Wambach. Nice idea. Rampone way upfield. The pass in front. Over the bar. Rodriguez was in there. Rampone made a nice run, was spotted on it, and the U.S. nearly collects the reward.
And here's a center back getting all the way forward, Christy Rampone, who's used to attacking. She used to play striker in college, and a great little ball across. And Amy Rodriguez just not able to get it on frame, but good run by Christy Rampone.
Rodriguez had 2 opportunities here in the first half of play. It's a nice idea from Rampone, almost resulted in the first goal of this match. Instead, 27th minute, still looking for the game's first goal. The USA continues to move on that 1-0 aggregate, a result that would get them through to the World Cup. 1 spot left, 15 teams are in. The remaining spot will go to one of these 2 teams.
See, that run that Christy Rampone just made plays into my theory that Rampone should play on the outside. Rachel Buehler and Lapelvit, you keep them central, and you put Rampone at outside back. That's what I've always thought. And I'm saying it right here, JP.
That's good for you. She's played on the outside. You mentioned before she was a striker, but
it's much more natural position for her over Rachel Buehler. Rachel Buehler is much more comfortable playing inside, and she's had a lot of really good games inside with Lapelvit before Rampone came back from maternity leave. So
the ball was knocked away from Lloyd. Carly Lloyd, congratulations to her, 100th cap, 26th player in U.S. women's national team history to reach that figure. United States, far side of the field. Intended for Rapinoe. Panico got it forward. Nearly a clash of heads there on the far side. The U.S. moves it. Rapinoe bringing it towards the middle. Box. Christy Rampone ahead to O'Reilly. Immediate pressure on her from Gamma. Mintz. Rampone cutting inside. Almost lost it. Box gets it. Box again. There's nobody up close enough.
That's a good sequence by the United States, though. They're playing with a bit more patience. We haven't seen that yet in the first 28 minutes, and so make the Italians chase.
It's blocked out of play by Bueller. Diotto will have a throw-in on the far side.
It's something actually all the U.S. players and even Coach Sundhagen talk about a lot is they want to simplify the game. They want to keep it. You could even, the boom might pick them up, shouting, keep it, keep it. Have a little more patience and dictate the tempo of the game.
Rapinoe slowed down by Totino. Got it free to Wambach out wide left. Running against Diada. That's blocked. That's going to be a goal kick for Anna Piccarelli.
Good look at Abby. Abby's actually playing with a hurt heel. She said the other day on the phone, she said, ever since Cancun and the CONCACAF qualifiers, my heel's been bothering me, and she's actually getting it shot up before every practice and game with a nerve blocker that lasts about 6 hours. I said, really? How's that going? She goes, you know, one more game.
Well, she and the rest of the team thought they'd be resting now. That was the plan. It goes into Rodriguez, and it's cut off. Had the U.S. qualified as everyone expected them to, this would have been well-deserved time off after a long WPS and international season. Time to rest, though, for this team will be after this game, no matter what. Throw in, U.S. Flicked forward, maybe a chance here. Still a loose ball. Wambach on the turn, unable to get the shot off. Putting it across. Almost again. O'Reilly came through. Ball was hanging around for a long time in that box.
And very well done by both Carly Lloyd to get into the box where you want to be, and then Abby, good patience, and she finds a seam, and really the only person in that box, the 6-yard box, was Heather O'Reilly on the back post.
Ball belongs to the U.S. They want to get a quick throw in. They do to Rodriguez. Now the box to a cutting Mitz, and a bit too far. Italy's ball on the throw in. These results hold, the U.S. will advance to the World Cup. All they need is a draw today, but they never play for a draw. They always play to win. That's not their style. It's not their personality. At some point, though, if the score stays like this in the latter stages, you would think that they would have to resort to that sort of thinking, though. All the way back into the U.S. area. Barnhart way out of goal. Gave it away almost to Panico. Box was there. Picked up by Totino. Gamma. Too far for Panico. Domenichetti on the run. Almost got by Bueller. That net is empty. Domenichetti couldn't get the shot off. And the U.S. dodged one right there. Long ball from Lloyd. Rodriguez looks for it. Piccarelli came out and was able to clear it to Totino. Rampone will get it. Gathered in by Bueller towards Wambach. Throwing for the United States. But there was almost trouble at the other end of the field.
And what should have been pretty much a simple play, because Bueller was in position, looks like was a case of miscommunication and almost turned into a goal for Italy.
Wambach's pass was deflected out. Corner kick for the United States, their third.
And Again, like always, Abby Wambach is a good target. Shannon Box is also on that back post typically. Rachel Bueller, number 4 for the United States. You can see her right there on the penalty spot.
Rapinoe went short to O'Reilly, back to Rapinoe. Deflects in the box. Picarelli came out and was able to hold on to it.
See, now play like that, for me, JP, when Megan gets that back, she's got to whip it in across that goal. With the height advantage you have with Picarelli, even though she is so good with her reflexes and reading the game, you got to create some chances right there in front of goal. Too many missed opportunities there.
Throw in for Heather Mitz. In for Shannon Box. Gamma is there. She had some help. Up for Panico. Defended by Rampone and Mitz. Gamma will play it long. Nobody near it in blue. Barnhart will take it. Julie, if you're the U.S. right now, are you more concerned about the way they're playing offensively or defensively?
I would say defensively. I mean, I think the offensively they've started to change a little bit, get a little more rhythm, but they're giving the Italians too many looks. I mean, the Italians have had 3 really good looks on goal, and they just haven't been able to take their opportunities well.
Rampone is on it. Long for Wambach. Nebely is on her and fouled her. Nebely played very well last week against Wambach. It was a physical game all the way, and today's game, no exception. A lot at stake for both countries. Much more so, though, for the United States. Rampone inside. Picarelli came out. That ball was spilled in front and then cleared away. Up for Panico. She's by herself at the moment. Now a couple of more of her teammates will join in. And she'll get it for a throw-in for Italy.
U.S. having some success on those free kicks from further range. It's an area that the Italians are having a hard time dealing with.
Tino got it forward off Camporese. Still scoreless here, USA with a 1-0 aggregate lead. A result that would get them through to the World Cup. We're still in the first half, and Italy has looked very good here today. Better than they did a week ago at home. Stepping up and winning it. Tona still going. That ball was deflected. Nobody after it in blue. Barnhart kept it from becoming a corner kick, but it'll be a throw-in for Italy from the near sideline. Gama going in for Camporese, headed by Box, taken back by Conte to Tino. Panico, and the flag is up. That's the 5th time Italy have been offside. And that's just here in the first half. Lapelbit for the U.S. Up for Rapinoe. Gathered in. Domenichetti's pass. Diada in towards Panico. Heads it forward. Camporese was there, couldn't get it. Panico looks for it. It's played by Lloyd to get it, but then she gave it right back to Tino from distance. And that's wide.
Here's the earlier chance. Bueller's in position and she slows down. I think she thinks Nicole's going to get to it. She slows down because she's there. And what ends up happening is then a scramble that you don't want. May have been easier just to have cleaned it up herself. But again, the Italians unable to capitalize.
Camporese played on the left. That's cleared by O'Reilly. Off Rapinoe, she'll chase it. She has some help. Lee Bueller touched it last. It's going to be a throw-in for Italy. 38th minute, first half. Scoreless here, 1-0 U.S. leads in the aggregate. An Alex Morgan goal in stoppage time last week in Padua. Another throw in for Italy with Diada going over to take it. She plays for the club side, Brescia. It's a foul call on the U.S. 38th minute. Italy is on the ball.
You could see the U.S. team holding their line, trying to hold their line right at the 18.
Lisa Camponese plays for the club side, Torres. She'll send it in low. That one's going to be cleared straight up. Rampone moving it ahead. O'Reilly has some help on the left side. Rapinoe. Box is coming forward. Ahead for Carly Lloyd. She can shoot from distance. She'll pass it instead. Rodriguez. It's a bit too far, and it's easy for Piccarelli.
The U.S. team there taking a page from the Italians of how to run a counter, did very well. You see Carly just unable to make a connection in that final third with Amy Rodriguez, but getting some numbers forward on a quick counter.
Wambach got it forward to Rapinoe on the left. Megan Rapinoe will hold, cuts inside, frees herself in the box. Stopped by Piccarelli, it's a big rebound, and a goal! Rodriguez has scored for the United States.
Here's another good look at it. And you want any type of flag player when they're faced up like this to go at their player. And Rapinoe does well. Piccarelli, unfortunately, unable to hold it. And good play by Megan Rapinoe to get it into the box, get something on goal, and test the goalkeeper. Rodriguez there for the nice follow-up. Piccarelli, you can see, wants that back. She knows she could have held that. The Italians are at 0-0.
Well, Amy Rodriguez had two great opportunities to score, did not convert, but she certainly made no mistake there and gives the USA a huge goal here at home. It's now a 2-0 aggregate lead, and it puts the Italians under a lot more pressure now. Here's Rodriguez. Left off there to box. Italy needs to win the game and score at least 2 goals. Meanwhile, Diada is off the field being treated on the far side, so Italy are playing with 10.
They've adjusted by putting Pini at right back where Diada was. So they're playing 4 in the midfield and only 1 up top. So 4-4-1 for the Italians.
Played back to Piccarelli. Plenty to come your way at halftime. We'll talk with one of your former teammates, Kate Marcraft, 201 caps in her international career, and former coach of the U.S. Women's National Team, Tony DeChico, expected to join us long distance via telephone. Get his thoughts on the first half. Gamma going forward. Box. Intercepted there. Italy going forward. Play to the far side. And possession was lost there. Rapinoe. So an Italian team that opened things up in the first half, looking to get that first goal, now needs to get 3 goals. They're down 2-0 here in the aggregate, have to win the game and score at least 2.
They look so strong in the first 20 minutes. I mean, that's the thing about soccer, though. Against good teams, you're only given so many good looks like that. If you can't put one of those away, it's going to come back to bite you eventually. The best teams finish those chances. Good opportunity, though, right here for the Italians to try and get some momentum going into halftime.
Hey, get tight!
It's looking like they're going to try and put it on goal, which may be a bit ambitious against Barnhart from this far out.
Caparese, 3 in the wall, got through, but it's easy play to Barnhart.
So we could probably get Megan.
Headed straight up. Lloyd leads it. Try to spring Rodriguez. Rapinoe intercepted by Totino. Talbot on it, under pressure from Pini, got it forward. The Bueller pass to Rapinoe, intercepted by Totino.
He's here. He's here. Yep.
Lloyd pass, now Rapinoe.
What a momentum change, though, for the United States going into halftime. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Italians deal with this emotionally, because already they came into this game so bitter about the fact the United States scored in what they think should have been end of game over. There was too much injury time, they thought, or stoppage time. And now you have this heartbreaker again. You have the momentum, they're doing well, they're creating chances, and then you let the United States in. 2 goals down. It's a big hole to dig yourselves out of, and how they respond to that will be interesting to see.
We're going to add a minute in stoppage time. Italy find themselves trailing here 1-0, 2-0 aggregate. Result that would put the U.S. through to the World Cup. If this result stands, they're looking to add more. Wambach has Rodriguez. A bit too far away, but Rodriguez is going to end up with it. Picarelli decided against coming out after it. O'Reilly shooting it low, right to Picarelli.
Laura Neboli, number 6 for the Italian team, did well to come across all the way to put some pressure on Abby. Make sure that ball didn't get across to Amy Rodriguez. Because, boy, that's a whole different story going in down 2-0.
Box. Rampone. Couple of cuts to get inside, trying to get free. It falls for Lloyd. Lloyd got it outside. O'Reilly, the cross is coming. Almost there. Taken away. Conte. Box stepped up, couldn't win it. Caparese. 4 players now in blue on the attack for Italy. Looking to get one before the halftime whistle if they can. Conte. Panico in the box. Panico with a look up. The shot blocked in front. Rampone was involved there in front. Italy back on it. They've had some looks in the first half, some opportunities, but nothing to show for it. We're in stoppage time, and behind the defense goes Wambach, bringing it down. She may be brought down. The shot blocked by Picarelli. Wambach nearly scored there for the U.S. Would have made it 2-0 here, 3-0 aggregate. Corner coming up.
This game opens up when Italians are pressing to try and get a goal. You're going to see this happen a lot more. Picarelli did very well to come back from that last goal to make a big save there. Keep her team in this game.
Set across by Rapinoe. Picarelli didn't get all of it. That's going to do it. First half is going to come to a close, and the U.S. didn't look as secure as we've seen them look, certainly in the past, but they have come away, Julie, with a 1-goal lead here in a 2-0 aggregate lead.
Yeah, and a good look again by the Italians. Here it is on the other side. Panico, nice little cut, doesn't get much on it, and then I think that's a good no call by the United States. And then right back on the other side, Abby getting in, she's getting pulled down a little bit by Tona. She fights her off, and Picarelli making a huge save to keep the Italians in this game. But what a momentum change for the United States. Even though they didn't play as well in the first 20 minutes, I think they got more of the game in the second half of that first half and have a lot of momentum now going into that second half.
Huge goal for the U.S. in the 40th minute by Amy Rodriguez. Let's go downstairs to Pedro Gomez.
More, especially hard today. Megan, how difficult is it out here?
It's a little cold. My whole face is numb, but they're having to attack a little bit more, so it's opening up for us to get some good chances.
We heard Pia earlier in the game say how she wanted to play over the top more. How much of that strategy is playing off?
Yeah, I think it's doing excellent. A-Rod's got in a few times. That last one for Abby, like I said, they're having to push up and push for the win, so it's going to open up a lot behind.
Take us through the goal.
I think a ball came out from Abby. I was wide open on the side, that condensing a lot. Just cut the girl, actually shot it, and then A-Rod, awesome job following up to put it in.
Okay, Megan, good luck in the second half. JP?
Thank you, Pedro. Megan Rapinoe helping to set things up in the first half. 40th minute goal. Amy Rodriguez gets it. For Amy Rodriguez, it's her 7th goal in the year 2010. U.S. leads Italy 1-0. Right now we'll go back downstairs to Pedro Gomez with a special guest, Hope Solo.
A very special guest, actually. Hope, the right shoulder, the surgery, how is it coming along?
You know, the first couple of weeks, I'll be honest with you, they were rough. I should owe an apology to my mom and my family, anybody who had to be around me. It was difficult for everybody, but you know, I'm off the painkillers and I'm well on my way with getting back into shape physically. Of course, no diving and catching, but I feel good now. Mentally and emotionally, I feel good.
How difficult has it been for you, because you're such a competitor, to have to sit on the sidelines and watch?
I would say the decision to get surgery was the most difficult. Once I made that decision, you know, honestly, it feels so good to be here. First and foremost, all the rehab aside, everything like that, you know, I'm not going to be ready till come April. So I'm here to support the team. I'm here to watch them qualify tonight, which I'm confident they're going to do. And it feels good. You know, the moment I walked into the hotel, it was smiles. I felt, you know, I told my family, first and foremost this year, I'm missing Thanksgiving. I'm there for my team. And it feels good to be here.
And you're 45 minutes away from knowing that you're going to play with the national team again in Germany. How do you feel about the second half here?
I've been confident from the moment I saw the girls at the hotel. There was a good energy, good vibes, smiles. You know, you can tell there's a good energy, a positive energy going on in the team right now. Even if we don't play well, we all know we can play better, and we have a lot to work on. Even if we don't play well, we're going to get the job done.
All right, Hope, thank you very much for joining us. JP, Julie?
Thank you, Pedro. Good to see Hope Solo here in Chicago, supporting her teammates right now. The USA on a goal by Amy Rodriguez has a 1-0 lead here. It's 2-0 in terms of the aggregate. We're coming back with much more at Toyota Park in Bridgeview, Illinois, where the USA leads in this World Cup qualifier. Welcome back, everyone. The Italians have made one sub. Alia Guagni has checked into the game. We will see who has come out for Italy. She's a newcomer, plays for Florence in Italy's first division on the women's side. We are underway, second half. Guagni has it, and it immediately goes out of play. USA in white, Italy in blue, and Italy needs to score some goals and keep the USA off the board. Right now it's 1-0 here, 2-0 aggregate in terms of the United States. Diatta is the player that has checked out, the number 3 for Italy. So easier said than done. Italy with 2 goals to make up, and the US has given up 2 goals only twice this year. Win over Germany and a loss against Mexico.
And this is where the U.S. has to be more strategic and thoughtful about the way they're playing. They don't need to go as much. And so just as we were discussing at halftime, that central midfield position and having a Boxy and a Carly, I think you could even almost have both of them sit in there, because that counterattack is what's really going to hurt you from the Italians.
Conti is down on the field for Italy. We have an advantage call. She's up and hobbling right now. Ball rolls away from Gamma, belongs to the United States, and Conti's in a bit of discomfort. USA leads here 1-0, a 2-0 aggregate lead.
Especially given the last thing you want to do is give the Italians a little bit of hope by giving them a goal and getting them back in that game.
Wambach getting it across. Rapinoe! She thought that one was deflected. Apparently not.
Here's another look at his last opportunity. Rapinoe getting a good angle wide. Abby finds a nice ball. Megan just winding up on that one, wanting to hit it with the sweet spot. No, should have got that on the frame.
48th minute, United States up by 1 here, by 2-0 in the aggregate, a result that gets them through to the World Cup. Italy must win the game and score at least 2 goals the way it stands now to advance. So 2-1 victory today would get them through. They'd have more road goals. Rodriguez. Wambach! Save! That's a beauty. A tester on Picarelli.
What a nice ball that was across by Amy Rodriguez.
We didn't see that in the first leg.
No, and Picarelli does well. Again, she had that save at the end of the first half, and now here again to keep the Italians still alive.
Wambach with that flick. Gamma will take it. It's now going to go out of play. The U.S. will keep it on a throw-in. Rachel Bueller. Amy Lepelbit, 6 in white. Got it forward. Wambach was there, but it bounced away. Third by Picarelli. Mitz got it forward with some help. Lloyd. Wambach getting a lot more touches here at the start of the second half. Inside Rodriguez, and it's knocked away by Tona. Tona got it forward. Italy struggling here. It comes back out to box. Tackled away by Conti. Box will get it back. Conte will move it. It's almost like the U.S. is trailing in this one and picking up the play and looking to score. It's the opposite. Comes back to Picarelli. She'll clear it off the left foot.
And that's the mentality of the U.S. that you gotta love.
Inside Wambach as she's falling down. Didn't get much on it.
There's no back down mentality, as Kate knows well, with the United States team. I mean, it's sometimes to a fault, right?
Pushed upfield, and the U.S. will get it back with Bueller. Back to Barnhart. Off O'Reilly. Wambach was looking for it. Kate, why is Wambach so much of a factor here at the start of the second half?
You know, I think she's getting the ball inside the box a lot on her favorite part of her body, her head, and it was a fantastic cross from A-Rod, but all this is happening because they're finally getting service from the flanks, and Abby is so good with her timing and her running to get onto balls, whether with her head or with her feet.
Italy will get it back. Let's find out what was said at halftime downstairs to Pedro Gomez.
Well, you guys are talking about how much more you guys are talking so much about how much the U.S. has been attacking. That has been part of Pia's strategy at halftime. She told the players, I want the ball over the top. I want it pressuring. I want the Italians on their heels. That's what they've been doing to us in the first half. We're going to do it to them now. So that's exactly what's been going on.
Thank you, Pedro. Message received for sure. At this point, off that corner, there's Barnhart grabbing it.
And that works as long as you're not making poor decisions and leaving yourself exposed. I mean, I'm all for an attacking mentality, but if you're sending both your central midfielders and you're sending numbers, then you're just asking to be countered, which is where the Italians are really strong. So you have to balance that with making smart decisions.
Nice move to the outside. O'Reilly freed herself, still has it. End line, she'll cross it. Nobody there in white for the U.S. Domenichetti. Panico. Double team. That worked. Lepelbit got it for Lloyd. Thinking about it. Lets it rip. but it's an easy one for Picarelli. Italy have another sub up on the far side. We're expecting Fuseli to replace Pini. Towards Rapinoe, left side of the field. Running against Guagny, got it inside, denied by Italy. Pini's pass, Guagny intercepted. Lloyd stepping up, trying to get to the outside. She was knocked down. Play continued as that ball went out. Belongs to the U.S. Now we're going to see that sub. Fresh legs for sure, at the very least. Carolina Pini will check out. Silvia Fuseli will come on. Replacing a midfielder with a forward. An attack-minding move here for Italy. Needing at least a goal here to get themselves back in contention. One goal wouldn't do it. Draw here. That's all the U.S. needs, and they would advance. They're up by 1, up by 2 in the aggregate off the corner. Cleared, edge of the box, and right back inside. Rapinoe kept it in, but the offside flag was up.
Here's another look at the goal that actually put the United States on 1-0. Megan Rapinoe doing well on the flank to get in the box and get a shot off. And then Amy Rodriguez there for the follow. Picarelli unable, the Italian keeper, unable to hold it. And that was at about 40 minutes, going right in before halftime. Good momentum swing for the United States.
On a bouncer too. It'll come back towards Barnhart. That was a big goal to separate these two teams. Italy have been playing well. Picarelli told us, Kate, after the first leg, that fear factor was gone. They were intimidated before by the U.S., but they felt the way they played that they could play with them.
Yeah, I think once you get over the emotional hurdle, you know, that's part of soccer, and you're facing the #1 team in the world at the time of the ranking, you know, I think of course you're going to be a little nervous, but then once you're in a do or die situation, all those nerves just fade away if you're a true competitor, which Italy is.
Pushed along by the U.S. The ball stayed in play for a while, but now finally out for a throw-in for Italy.
Kate, do you find that, though, as a cause for concern when you hear teams say that about the United States?
Yes and no. Again, I do like it when a team kind of comes at you because it pushes you and it makes you a better team, especially in this preparation phase. And now that hopefully qualifying will be over. But, you know, I think people aren't as scared as the U.S. anymore, but now they truly have to prove themselves.
Upfield, Panico. Lapel bit. Two players didn't give up on that ball. Now it's Rapinoe. She helped on that first goal that Rodriguez scored to give the USA a bit of a cushion. Offside again. Don't forget the upcoming Women's World Cup draw. It's Monday, right here on ESPN3.com. Draws at 1:40 Eastern Time. Jeremy Schaap and Julie Foudy reporting from Frankfurt. We'll know the 16 teams, obviously, and what it's going to look like starting in June of 2011 from Germany. Down that right flank, Fuseli. Just in the game for a short while, trying to get around Bueller. Easier said than done. Bueller won it to Lapelbit. Try to find Rodriguez behind the defense. Rodriguez will try to track this ball down. She'll run out of space, but it'll be a throw-in for the U.S.
I think there's some encouraging signs for the United States, too, in that you're seeing Megan Rapinoe stay very active on the flank. You've seen Heather O'Reilly get in. Those were two areas that Pia Sundhage has said we need to find consistent flank players.
Looks like the USA is getting ready to make their first substitution as a throw-in is taken by Rapinoe. Italy will move it out. They'll move it up the middle, Menichetti. She'll carry it right side, and it's too far for Fuseli. Looks like it's Lauren Cheney. It is on that far side of the field. As the ball is played up, intended for Rodriguez. Gamma. Fuselli. Off by Rapinoe. Helbit back to Christy Rampone. Long off the right foot. Finds the open player, O'Reilly. She goes down. Play continues. Pushed up on the flank. And Italy didn't keep possession long as Conte lost it. O'Reilly. Immediate long ball. Wambach with a step. A collision with Piccarelli as the ball rolls toward goal. U.S., for all intents and purposes, could have put it out of reach there. Fuselli loses. Bueller, immediate look for Wambach again. Gamma will get to it. Left side of the field, pushing it up. Caporese.
How to break down a really compact, low-pressure defense, because that's what most teams would have gone into that bunker mode.
Rodriguez, Rapinoe, right across. Well, the U.S. continues to attack and look for a killer goal, and now we're going to see the change, and it's a sign of the way they think. It's not a defensive-minded substitution at all. It's to continue to put more pressure on offensively.
They bring in one of their 4 options at forward. They have Abby and Amy already in. Amy Rodriguez, Lauren Cheney coming in. We'll see if she goes in for a straight swap for Megan Rapinoe in midfield, or if she comes up top. She can play both.
A lot of Chicago Red Stars supporters giving Rapinoe a nice ovation as she leaves, playing for the WPS team here.
Looks like Cheney's coming in up top alongside Abby, and Amy Rodriguez went to left midfield.
Wambach leaves it. Rodriguez. U.S. leading here 1-0. It's a 2-0 aggregate lead on the road to the World Cup. Lloyd trying to slice through. Cheney's first touch. Wambach couldn't get to it. Can't relax against the United States here if you're Italy. Not at all.
How about that for your first touch, though?
Lauren Cheney's just 23, out of UCLA, played for Boston this past year.
And here's a good look at the Cheney chance. Just literally walked into the game and gets it almost into the upper corner. Good turn by Lauren Cheney without probably much of a warm-up or anything.
Wambach for box. Intended for O'Reilly, but way too far up top. It's Piccarelli on the ball. Played professionally in Italy since 2006. Box. Rampone's pass intended for Rodriguez, stopped by Guanyi. Oh, Fuselli lost it in a bad spot. Bueller gets herself free. Leads it in front. Wambach was held back and unable to catch up to that ball. Piccarelli going forward with it. U.S. got it back. And it comes back to Piccarelli. She will clear it ahead. Finishing chances. 19 shots on Saturday, 14 today. A goal in each game for the U.S. team. 2-0 aggregate lead.
U.S. wants to see that ratio creep up for sure. 19-1 and 14-1. But
unlike,
I mean, not to give it the Italian, they got to give the Italians some credit though. Piccarelli has had some very good saves.
It's un-USA like. They're used to a much better strike ratio. 62nd minute here. Cold conditions here in Chicago, not as windy as it was yesterday. Wind hasn't been a factor at all. Rampone in, and there's Piccarelli. Picarelli yesterday thought that the wind would be a big factor, but it's nowhere near like it was yesterday.
And the Italians, you're looking at their 15 minutes into their second half, and they've lost the game a bit. They haven't controlled it, and so the U.S. has come out as the aggressor, and that's got to change. They got to start thinking of ways. You know, they're playing almost with a 4-3-3. They're pushing their outside midfielders forward, but they got to grab the game back and try and make something happen here.
Panico was the player they were looking for in the first half. They haven't really found her much in the second. Long free kick here from Italy. Driven in, an easy bounce to Barnhart. '29-year-old Nicole Barnhart, best goalkeeper this past year in the WPS. On that long kick, Gamma heads it back the other way. A race for the ball. Rampone got there first. Ball's cleared out of play for a throw-in. Conti. And the offside flag is up. Thank you for watching today here on ESPN3.com with Kate Markgraf and Julie Foudy. I'm JP Dellacamera. This game being televised today in some 75 countries. Coming to you from Toyota Park, Bridgeview, Illinois. Pedro Gomez with us on the sideline as he was in the first leg. Cleared upfield. Italy back on it. Need more urgency in their game. Fuselli, Guagni, Domenichetti. Fuselli up the wing, angled off by Lepelbit. Finally, the ball goes out. Belongs to Italy. Julie, how can Italy find some space here?
Well, they were having so much success working off Panico in that first half and getting players forward off of that. You see right there, their left back, Saragama, is up. So first and foremost, they need to get a hold of the ball and possess it a little bit more, and then see if they can work off Panico, and that takes time. You need possession to give time for your midfielders to get forward and your backs to get forward. But what's happening is the U.S. is putting such pressure on them that they're not even able to hold the ball. Sometimes your best offense is your best defense.
U.S. told us yesterday, Kate, all business today. They know the magnitude of this. They can't afford to lose and not be in the World Cup. What are you seeing here in the second half that's showing us that?
I'm seeing actually a joy in a lot of ways. It's almost like the monkey is off their back. There's a lot of pressure on them. They lost unexpectedly in Mexico, and I think it shocked them all. But now, look at them. They're having fun out there. You see Abby missing chances, but actually smiling instead of showing emotions of frustration. So I'm seeing a lot of joy, and I think this is going to continue through the rest of the half.
Wambach said that there was more pressure, she thought, on the U.S. before the first leg. That goal by Alex Morgan, she said, really helped them so much.
Definitely, definitely. I think they're all very thankful that Alex Morgan's on their team at this point.
I said to Alex, did you realize how big that goal was? She's not really. But gosh, what a change I saw in the team's temperament.
Sixth USA corner. Wambach was being held back again. Cheney in towards Wambach. It comes out. Lepelbit. And that ball stayed there for a while. Pushed forward by Lloyd.
It's interesting though, Kate, when you say that, because it's so true. When you're playing with a little bit of joy and the pressure's off you, look how much more spark you have in your step as well, though.
Yeah, you could be the most fit, but for some reason, when you're happy and you're having fun out there, it's all of a sudden you can run another 120. You can spray the ball out wide and get onto a ball that normally would have gone out of bounds. And that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing some excitement. I'd love to see Shannon Box and Carly get a hold of the ball a bit more, though. And let's work on that possession that you're going to need against the more technical sides.
And it has been such an emphasis for them, yet something they haven't been able to quite wrap their arms around. I mean, every player has said it. Coach Soonhagen has said it. We just need to simplify the game and hold it. And here's a perfect opportunity to do that and make the Italians chase.
US will get possession back again. Play it back to Barnhart. U.S. leads here 1-0. It's a 2-0 aggregate lead. We're getting closer to qualifying for the World Cup. If this result stands, they are in. And Italy's hopes are dashed, and we'll have the 16 teams in, with the draw coming up on Monday from Frankfurt. Catch that draw here on ESPN3.com. Off the Barnhart kick. Gallo got to it. Blocks down that right flank. O'Reilly is free at the moment. Heather O'Reilly gets closer, played it across for Cheney. Good idea in the cross. It results in another corner for the U.S.
Better service from the flanks overall in this game. The first game against the Italians, that was a real issue that they all talked about. Now you're seeing, and not only better service, you're seeing a player make that near post run. That was really lacking in the first game as well. No one was making that initial run in.
Carly Lloyd on the corner. Everybody up for it. It is spilled. The pelmet that's blocked in front. Another drive is blocked as well. I believe Tatina may have blocked that one in front for Italy.
Pelvin almost getting her first ever international goal. Kind of like Kate Markgraf. It only took you how many years, Kate?
190 games, I think, 10 years.
That's what I was just having flashbacks to.
Hey, if you're comparing me to Amy LaPelbet, that's a huge compliment.
On the turn, the Cheney cross was blocked. Lauren Cheney back on it, and then lost it there. Italy will have a throw-in. Guanyi will take it.
She's only had 43 international caps, so she's got another 150 to go before she matches you.
Kate, that never bothered you, did it? That was always just good-natured teasing, right?
Yeah, and also it was just, I was nervous as all get out to get up there, so.
Well, we should try and shove her up there for penalty kicks. I think she'd be like, no.
No, never.
Come on, Kate, get that first one.
Lloyd sends it the other way, and Picarelli is right there. What happened there? Abby Wambach is getting spoken to, and then she spoke to the referee as well.
But that's a good sign right there. Abby talking to the refs means she's invested. That's good, especially after an 11-month season that they're in, and they are so fatigued.
Here's the push on the other side. Abby, I think, getting a little sick and tired of that elbow from Nebeli, saying, here's a little bit back at you. You could tell she was saying that to the referee as well.
Two legs of frustration because Nebeli was all over in that first leg. Lloyd sent it into the middle. Sent away by Guanyi. More possession though here for the U.S. Italy unable to get possession and go forward for most of the second half. They had more of it in the first half. Panico dropping it back. Domenichetti. 71st minute. USA leads in the game 1-0. A 2-0 aggregate lead. Domenichetti sending it in. That's cleared away by Mitz. High foot there brought down by Gamma to the outside. It's now played in towards Panico. Swept away by Rampone. Two captains together there, former teammates with New Jersey. Sky Blue in the WPS. Cheney drops it back. Box of a long ball to Rodriguez, denied by Guanyi. Will go out for a throw-in.
This is a good example of why I think the U.S. is still the #1 team in the world, is because they just outlast teams. I mean, you can see the Italians, they're starting to show signs of fatigue with their body language, a little bit frustrated. In the U.S., this is when they just come alive. Even after, as Kate mentioned, you know, being totally exhausted, they will all say that.
Boxer said that Picarelli makes the easy play. Picarelli said last week in that first leg, you could see that the Italians were getting tired around the 80th minute or so. Played into space. Barnhart was coming out. Now committed to it. Will move it away. 2018, 2022 FIFA World Cup bid announcements. We've been hearing a lot about it. That date is coming up Thursday. ESPN and ESPN3.com, 10 a.m. Eastern time. They'll make those announcements. We'll see. The USA at one point was considered, I think, a lock for 2022. We're not hearing that as much, with Qatar making some noise and some others as well.
Get me started on that, JP.
Qatar?
Yeah.
No, but
that whole process,
in all seriousness, remember,
the whole process just drives me nuts.
At one time it was a lock for the U.S., and I don't think anyone feels that it is a lock anymore, and there's been so much intrigue surrounding the bids. People on the board getting into trouble. So that drama plays on next week.
Enough said, right?
Yeah. Through the box, that's picked off. Going long, missed by Rampone. Here's Panico. Maybe a chance here. She pulls it back. Mitz came on. That's a big play to break it up.
I think to Foudy's point, the fitness level of Italy is totally showing. I mean, you have a chance to come back and win this game. You should be pushing high all the time, sending numbers forward in a flurry, and they're not. And the forward could have used some help right there.
Cheney goes after it. All they really need is one goal to get them started here.
And this is where the U.S., you could see the speed advantage. Panico can't beat her with her speed, so she has to cut her, and that gives the opportunity for Heather Mitz to recover as well. And we've seen a few of those where Panico's in, and then she just can't get in with her speed. I mean, that's not going to be her strength. Her strength is getting in front of goal and finishing.
Domenichetti broken up. That's Rodriguez. She had help from box. Cheney is on it. Good decision. Good run. It's Bueller. Looks to cross it. That's denied by Guanyi ahead to Fuseli. She's got that whole sideline. Chooses to go with the early ball. That's picked off. Italy will get it back to Tino. Keeping it on the ground. Maybe something here for Italy. Conte leads it. Camporese. End line cross. Panico, but she couldn't get to it. Settled. Domenichetti had it blocked. Totino, that's blocked as well. That's much better though from Italy. Now there's some urgency and desperation. Gamma. Camporese tries to go after it. Kept it in play by the corner flag. Working it against Mitz. Help is coming. Now it's Totino cutting it off. Camporese swings it in towards Panico. Rodriguez gets it. For Cheney. Cutting to the middle, held by two players, and she draws the foul. These results hold. The United States qualifies for the 2011 FIFA Women's World Cup.
This is where the U.S. has had some success on these long-range free kicks, too, because you can see right behind their back line is this big old gap that Piccarelli's having to deal with. And she's coming out and kind of getting lost in no man's land there. This one comes up short, but they've been sending it in that gap.
O'Reilly's shot went wide. And it looks like Ali Krieger is going to come on for Heather Mitz. It'll be the second substitution. So some fresh legs here. Maybe to help out the defense, as you expect Italy, Kate, to be pushing more forward now.
Definitely. Italy is getting their chances from pushing forward, getting the ball high early, but then playing it back to their second line, to their midfield, and then spraying it wide. And if they continue to do that, it's going to put the U.S. under more pressure, and it's going to make the game a lot more interesting.
Gamma with it. 77th minute. U.S. up by 1 here, by 2-0 in the aggregate. On the chase back, it's Rampone. Gamma picks that up. Panico, quick ball. Camporese picked up by Krieger, who plays overseas in Germany. Into Panico, laid off. Camporese going inside. Almost Box was back there defending.
It's interesting, though, the one time the Italians actually got a sequence where they got a good shot on goal that just happened. It came off Rachel Bueller, the left back for the United States, making a run all the way almost to her own corner flag. So you just have to be careful when you choose to do that, because that could be a consequence there as a counterattack by the Italians.
Boyd got it forward. Cleared by Guagny. Box knotted it down, but right to Domenichetti. Panico laid it off to Tino. She'll go forward. U.S. defense backing up. And that last pass needed to be much better than that. She had options. 78th minute. Italy needs to win this game and score at least 2 goals in order to advance. USA qualifies with a win or a draw. Right now, it's a 1-0 lead here in this game for the U.S. 78th minute.
So if you're an Italian player out there, you have less than 15 minutes to try and get 2 against the #1 team in the world.
Flag is up on the near side. Offside, Italy.
And that could be what's in the back of their mind. Hence, you see kind of the negative body language when the ball goes out of bounds or something happens. But at the same time, you're like, you know what? We're going to have to send players. We're going to have to take risks here. Who cares if you lose 5-0, right? The result is the same. You got to take some chances here. So you hope to see that happen in the next 10 minutes for the Italians.
Wambach laid it off, or tried to. It's coming back. Rampone swept it ahead. Krieger got another piece of it, comes all the way back, and will go out of play. It belongs to the United States. They can use up a little bit more of the clock. Pia Sundhage looking on at the finish here, protecting the lead. U.S. does well with that.
Oh, gosh. Don't show the Italians that one.
Why so good, Kate, at protecting leads?
I think, again, it's the emotional aspect of the game coming out, and also the U.S. always just continues to press, and so as the other team tries to get a goal, then the U.S. gets behind, finds those open spaces, and just exploits it.
You got that 48-game unbeaten streak on home soil as well. 43 wins, 5 draws there. Piccarelli will grab it. She knows the time is against her and her country. 80th minute. Italy need to score at least 2 goals and not give the U.S. any more. Back it comes to Piccarelli. That's a daunting task here in the 80th minute. Off Bueller. Swept away. Strong boot upfield by Lepelvit, but possession will be lost. Kate, anything you want to see change here in the final 10 minutes or so?
Again, I'd like to see your holding midfielders, your center midfielders, looking to see that they're outnumbered 3-2 in that center of the midfield, and space it out a little bit better zonally so that they can put pressure and do the cover balance that you learn in club soccer so early. Because right now they're both going forward or one's going forward, and your outside midfielders aren't getting back. And it's creating some chances for Italy because of that dysfunction on their on the organization.
Set forward by Lloyd, but that's another giveaway. U.S. was possessing much better several minutes ago. Sully pass was blocked. U.S. gets it back. Cheney with the early ball to Rodriguez, off target. Tona had a block by Wambach. Piccarelli made a nice play. She saw that one coming.
Piccarelli's been very quick off her line. She reads the game very well. She stops things before they become a mess in front of her.
Making up for that lack of size with her quickness.
Exactly. If you can't come out late for balls and win that aerial duel, stop it before it becomes an aerial duel.
Battle on the near sideline. Cheney will keep it there for Box. Intercepted by Totino for Panico. Rampone steps up high. Panico fouls Harley Lloyd. It'll be a free kick for the United States with Christy Rampone on it. 82nd minute. USA leading here, leading in the aggregate. If this result stands, they advance to the World Cup. It was expected to be a formality, but they had to go to this playoff just to earn the right as Wambach sends it in, and Picarelli makes the easy play and wants numbers forward. And she wanted to get that one much farther up the field than she did. Gamma has it blocked out. Throw in here for Italy.
This result stands, as I think it will. I think the U.S. will look back on this whole past couple weeks and think, you know what, we've grown, and perhaps the road was longer and a little bit more difficult. Sure, we're tired, but gosh, what a time to have a second chance and to hopefully carry that momentum and gain some confidence from today into the World Cup. We always used to say you can always extract a lesson from a loss, and this would be a great opportunity for them to grow from this.
Throw on the far side of the field for the United States. Time running out on Italy's hopes to qualify for just their third Women's World Cup. Haven't seen them since 1999. Cheney fights to try to win it back. Nobody was there defending. It'll be a goal kick for Picarelli. U.S. has just the one goal today, but it might be enough to send them through. It was Rodriguez getting it.
And here's Megan Rapinoe cutting back, hitting it on target, on frame. She keeps it nice and low, hits it hard. Picarelli, atypically unable to hold it there. The one time today she's been unable to hold it. And the United States there to capitalize. Amy Rodriguez doing well to pounce on that second ball.
LePelbit cuts that one off. Now to Box. Pushed long by Cheney. Lost there by Gamma, but Picarelli was high enough up to make the play. Lee back on it to Domenichetti. To Tino. 85th minute. Foul on Italy. U.S. ball. Last thing you want to do now, foul the U.S. You're going to give them all this possession time. Italy needs the ball and a couple of goals. Against the #1 team in the world. Upfield towards Wambach. Fuselli for Domenichetti. She'll move forward. Bueller slowed her down, had some help. Fuselli to Guanyi. Nice run there. Cut off though by Rampone. Reads the game so well. Knocked it away from Panico. Fuselli is back on it. Rampone took down Panico. Guanyi is up trying to cross it. LePelbit blocked it. It's going to go out for a corner kick. So a chance here for Italy in the 86th minute. They need more than a goal here.
This is where this is such a crucial time in the game, the last 5 minutes of the second half, as everyone knows.
Played inside, and that's an easy play for Barnhart.
The Italians have 5 outside of the box. They only sent 5 into the box. That's unbelievable to me. Here's your opportunity.
Kate, shouldn't they all have been up there?
I think you send everybody except for the one holding back. You keep your fastest player at the halfway line, and then you just send everybody. You have nothing to lose at this point. You're not going to the World Cup.
That didn't look like desperation from up here. The right side, it's Box. Wambach. 16
I don't even
goals.
think I've ever seen that. 5 back.
I think they're so tired that those 5 in the back could not get their butts up there.
Holy cow.
87th minute. The USA minutes away from qualifying for the World Cup. It was harder than anyone thought it would be, though.
And who would have thought the U.S. was the last slot to go to the World Cup?
No one.
But hey, it doesn't matter what the road is as long as you're there, right?
Kate, can this make them stronger?
Absolutely. You know, the biggest thing I see is when you play in the WPS. Oh, wait.
Hold up on this just in case. Now it's save to continue.
Way to go, Christy. When you play in the WPS, you're used to different styles, so you don't learn each other's tendencies. And as much as Pia wants there to be unpredictableness, you have to learn from each other what someone's going to do to know if they're going to cross it or shoot it. And I think these additional 2 games in a high-pressured environment will do nothing but increase their awareness of one another and increase their ability to perform well together.
Inside it comes, and there's a quick shot. The offside flag was up anyway. Panico. They've been offside double figures today, or almost.
That would have made for a harried last few minutes for sure. Here's another look at it. Oh, I think she's on actually, because you see
offside.
Bueller on the left side on the bottom of your screen.
Over the top. Rampone hustles, played it back to the feet of Barnhart.
You know, with number 3, Christy Rampone, you're definitely seeing a comfort level. This woman gave birth in March, and it takes about a full year to come back 100% from pregnancy. And you're beginning to see the old Christy right there in the last 20 minutes of this game.
Cheney and the U.S. moving forward. Right side of the field. It's O'Reilly. Against Neboli. The cross. Looking for Cheney. Italy will move it ahead towards Conti in the 89th minute. Panico's pass outside. Conti tries to return it towards Panico, and there's Rampone again. Captain has covered a lot of ground today in the back. Gallant's throw. Rampone hit. Comes upfield. Lloyd. Cheney. Wambach. Back to Lauren Cheney. She'll swing it out. Up for a throw-in for Italy. We're in the 90th minute. LaPelvin towards Wambach. Heading it towards Cheney. It's knotted down to Piccarelli. Given right back to the U.S. O'Reilly. 3 minutes added on here. In for Wambach. Flag stays down. And Wambach goes down.
There's another look at the Italian chance that just happened. The offsides. Here's the line set by Rachel Bueller, sorry, at your left back position. And the ball served in. She was definitely onside there. It ended up being a fairly routine save for Nicole Barnhart anyway, so it may have been a moot point, but still.
It'll be Italy's ball. We're in the stoppage time. 3 more minutes. And then the USA will know they're in the World Cup again. Well, you would expect they'll be among the favorites again with the host nation, Germany. Certainly. Who else do you like there, Kate?
Again, I like France, but Brazil is always tough to beat. And then someone from the Asian area, oh my goodness, they are so tough and so unpredictable. I had my head on a swivel and didn't know where the ball was going all of 08 in the Olympics. So it's going to be a great, exciting World Cup.
Comes up in June. ESPN will have full coverage. The draw is on Monday. In the space it comes. Wambach was trying to track it down. Neboli plays it back to Piccarelli. Almost a minute gone in stoppage time of an expected 3. Off Piccarelli. And the U.S. gets it back again towards Cheney. Deflected ball. Bach steps up, wins it, finds Cheney wide left. Did well to keep that ball in play.
So there's an example of when I think the United States can get a little bit more sophisticated about just holding the ball. No need to serve it there. You're in your waning minutes.
Another offside. This one on the United States.
talked to Coach Sunhagen the other day about what will happen if they qualify, and she said they're getting December off. I originally had a December camp scheduled, but this is a much needed break. She goes, they just need to get away from the game of soccer for a little bit, and then we can reconvene again in January.
I don't think it has anything to do with her month-long Thailand trip either that Pia has planned for herself.
It's a coincidence?
Oh, absolutely coincidence.
Comes all the way back, and Piccarelli will clear. Panico, one down in a heap. The Lloyd pass is blocked. Tino gets it back. Stepping in is Krieger. More players going down here. Latter stages of the match. About a half a minute left. And then World Cup qualifying will be officially over. Panico headed away. Brought down Gamma to Tino. It's blocked by the U.S. Up for Wambach. Box wide open was Cheney, but also offside. Just seconds left in this. The referee has looked at the watch. This might be the last kick. Italy on the ball, far side of the field. Gamma kept it on the ground. Panico looking to turn. That's blocked. That'll do it. The United States is officially qualified for the 2011 FIFA Women's World Cup. Kate, it wasn't easy. They had to play 2 more games, but at the end of the day, like they said, it's all business, and they got the business done today.
Absolutely. You have a whole new group out there. You've got Christy Rampone coming back from pregnancy, Carly Lloyd with the ankle break, and that's the center line, and Abby broke her nose. You know, so you've got a lot of players coming back from different injuries or illnesses or what have you, including Megan Rapinoe, who I think could be the most exciting player on the U.S. women's national team at the moment. So, you know what, you got a team that went through a hard time together. I think this is a great opportunity for them to come together stronger.
What did you see different? What did you see better in the second leg than in that first leg?
Well, in the second leg, I think, especially in the second half, you saw Heather O'Reilly able to get involved in the attack. And it kept their left back, who is known across the world as such a threat, it kept her home. And so she wasn't able to push forward. And as Foudy was saying, a great offense is usually, you know, a great defense is a great offense, and that's something the U.S. definitely did in the second half that they did not do in the first.
Thought we might have heard a Pia Sundhage speech. We got lucky with one of those in Philadelphia on a recent telecast. The U.S. wins today, 1-0, a 2-0 aggregate win. They've qualified for the World Cup. That's not a surprise. They've been in every World Cup. The surprise was that they had to go to a 2-leg playoff just to get there. Amy Rodriguez scores their only goal today. Alex Morgan off the subs bench last week in stoppage time. They really set the stage for this one, where all they needed today was a draw, and they would have advanced.
And I think the one thing that you can carry going forward is, even though the road was hard, you can gather some confidence, because look at the way they came back in the last minute to win the game in Italy. I mean, that speaks a lot about the attitude of the team. Even though it wasn't their best game in Italy, even though they didn't play very well, they all said that themselves. To come back in the 94th minute like that says a lot about that team and the heart that they can show.
First of all, we want to thank everybody for coming out today. I know it was a bit cold, but we really needed all your support, so thank you. And obviously, this was a little different of a road than we had expected. but this team has resilience. We never gave up. We never lost belief in ourselves. And we're just so happy that we could have qualified today. We'll see you next year. We'll see you in Germany.
For Kate Marcraft, Julie Foudy, and Pedro Gomez, I'm JP Dellacamera. We say so long today, bringing you some images from the USA versus Italy as we say so long in this Thanksgiving weekend from Terrata Park in Bridgeview, Illinois, where the USA advance to the World Cup. A 1-0 win today, a 2-0 aggregate win over Italy. So long, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.